Hi guys, I'm back. I was able to drill one more really small hole into the wood and then pull my wire through it with my daisy attached. I actually ended up cutting off the top of my daisy because it had a knot that wasn't going to fit through the hole. So I cut some of the daisy away and kept a couple pieces so that I could pull it through. Now that I'm done, I can take all of the pieces of my daisy off. What I'm left with is a nice long piece of wire. That is nice and tightly woven, and it looks pretty nice and thin. So this could be used for chain or for a bracelet. And the next step we need to do is get a couple of things, and you have to make some decisions. So the first thing is, you're gonna need some more of the wire you started with, which is 26 gauge and whatever color you were working with. I can put my draw plate away. The next thing we're going to need is 2 little jump rings, and you can pick either silver or gold to finish this off. Don't forget the main wire, I have silver, gold, and copper. After you get your 2 jump rings, you're also gonna need to get what's called a cap. So you're gonna need to get a jewelry cap. I have 2 different shapes, jewelry caps. And then I also have the 2 cone jewelry caps in silver and gold, but the rounded caps I have only in silver. So I might bring you in closer so you can see that better. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is this chain is too long for my wrist for it to be a bracelet. I have too much. So the cool thing about it is that you can actually cut it down without without it falling apart basically. So I'm gonna measure around my wrist, and I am going to actually just take my flush cutters, and I am just gonna cut through where I said I don't need it to be. And I'll keep that extra piece because I like just having the extra around. There we go, so I cut it shorter. This piece will be kept because I could make it into an earring or something else. So that'll go over there. This piece is staying. So I have the end that I finished with, this little string here, and the end that I just cut. And if there's like a little piece hanging, you can just take that off. But it should be that it doesn't come apart any more than like 1 or 2 pieces. There we go. All right, so I have all these up here and I have this one down below. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take my final string I had here, my final wire that I was weaving with, and this is the end, and I am going to hook it under every single one of these loops at the end. It's got to go through all of the loops and grab all of them together. So I'm gonna pull all of this through and around and through so that I'm hooking all of it into one little group, that if I pull this wire nice and tight, it's got everything I need. There we go. So now they're all squashed together so that it won't come undone. And you can look at the end and see if you missed any. I might have missed one there. And pull it through so that they're all in one big loop together. And for good measure, I'm going to wrap around just once, but it's just going to come off now. Okay, so Anyways, don't wrap around once, just hold it, pull it together. This is where my end caps come in. Again, cone end cap comes in silver and gold. Round end caps come in just silver. If I take my round end cap, I'm just gonna slide it on. My round end cap for mine, because I kept it I pulled it through until it was really thin, my round end cap is kind of big. Round end caps would be better for people who made a thicker chain, because they wanted it to be a little chunkier. So here's a good example. So there's a good example of a thicker chain with the round end cap on it. You can see it on this side too. That looks nice. So for mine, I need to use the cone end cap because it fits better. And as all of you have learned by now, I am a silver girl. I like silver. So I am going to take my silver 2 mini jump rings and my silver end caps and push everything else out of my way so I don't get confused. And then I'm also going to need to find a silver clasp. So this clasp in particular looks like this. And when you unscrew it, it opens, and then you can screw it back in to close it. So, how do we do this? Step 1, take a little bit of wire, a couple of inches, 3 or 4 inches, cut it off. On the end that you cut the daisy off of, there's no wire. So I have to loop this through all of those end hoops to create and catch all of them. And you can always go back and do it all over again if you need to. Sometimes I like to squish it so they're all in one line and I can loop it through. Because it can be tedious to try to catch them all. You guys are gonna groan, but that just made me think of Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. Clearly it's the end of the day and I'm losing my mind as I do this. So, again, I'm just making sure I pull through every single one of these loops and have them all, oop. No, I pulled too far. And I have them all strung on. I'm just missing the last 2. 1. And again, I'm using my chain nose plier to help me. Chain nose plier is always my go-to plier when I need to grab onto something. There we go. So I'm going to pull that all together nice and tight. And I'm going to take the end that's fed through, so I have the end and the main one, and I'm just going to twist the 2 of them together to create a knot. In the wire world, all you need to do is twist. You have yourself a nice little finished section. Okay, so now I have 2 wires from the ends of my bracelet. And I have 2 small, tiny jump rings. Sorry, I disappeared because I dropped something. I have my clasp and I have my end caps. So, feed my wire through my end cap, slide my end cap so that it's on, nicely kind of jammed in there a little bit, nicely and tightly onto that spot. Do it again on the other side. I got a long video. Jam it in there a little bit and pull it nice and tight so that both sides now have end caps. I am then going to take my wire and I am going to wrap my wire around one of these baby jump rings 3 or 4 times. So I'm gonna go, I'm holding the jump ring against the end cap and I'm feeding my wire through the jump ring. Keep that jump ring against the end cap as much as you can, because otherwise, see, I broke my wire. So I'm gonna have to go get another piece of wire and fix that. So that might happen. If it does, don't panic. Just have to get another piece of wire and feed it through all of them again. And since they're already nicely in a scrunched up pile for me, I can do it very quickly. And attach a new piece of wire, put my end cap back on, and we try again. Ta-da! Easy peasy. Cut off the old one. So, once again, trying to wrap my wire around my, and I want to pull it so that that loop is nice and tight and flush up against. See, it's like separated right now. It's far apart. I want it so it's closer, so I need to push my wire so that the jump ring is right up against the end cap, is what you're trying to accomplish. The first loop is always the hardest, and then it'll be much easier from there. So, give me a second. So what I'm trying to do, I know I'm off camera, but what I'm trying to do is push the wire through my little jump ring enough times that it forms 3 or 4 loops around the jump ring. And everything about this project is going to take a little patience. So if I put this back in front of the camera, I was messing around with it. Is that going to focus? Focus, please. You can see that I've now wrapped my wire 3 times around that jump ring. You always want to squish your loops together, make it look nice and neat. And now that's how it's going to sit and look at the end there. Nice and clean. Now this is a jump ring, so there should be an opening to my jump ring. Well, if you can't get your jump ring open, because like me, you wrapped your wire around the jump ring opening, then what you can do is on the clasp, you can open the clasps loop instead, because it has a loop that you can attach with. So I'm going to attach my clasp on, come back, and I am going to close my clasp. Voila, I have attached a clasp. So now you get to watch me do it all over again on the other side. Taking my end cap, sliding my piece through. I'm gonna shove it into my end cap a little bit to already create some of that tension. I can even pull it a little bit with my pliers to make it nice and tight. I am going to slide my tiny jump ring down onto the piece so that it's lining up, and I am going to do my best to wrap it so that it is as close to the end cap without being too far away. So I'm going to hold that against the end cap while I'm pulling my wire nice and tight so that it is close to his end cap as I can get it. And then I'm going to wrap it around again 3-4 times to make the join nice and strong. So once, twice, you can use your pliers to pull it nice and tight if you want to. 3 times, nice and tight. And then you can cut off your extra. Or if you have a lot of extra, a really good idea would be to just take your extra and before you cut it off, wrap it once. Don't do what I just did. I need to take new wire again. Oh, I was so close to being done. So guys, see, I make mistakes too, and it gives me problems as well. So don't get frustrated if it doesn't work for you the first time around. It does in the end work. You just have to be patient and get it to work correctly, and then you're good to go. So take another piece of wire. You've seen me do this before. Cut my wire with my flush cutters. Take my wire, feed it through all the ends. Pull it nice and tight. Do a little twist. Cut off the extra. Put my end cap back on this. Feed it through the end cap. And wrap that again 3 times around my little tiny So let me take this off screen and get it done for you guys so you can see the next step, because you already know how to do this. All right, guys, so I got it's not pretty, but I got it on there. I will definitely clean that up later when I'm not on camera and not wasting your time. So, last and final step is to attach the other side of the clasp. Open it up, hook it onto the jump ring, close it, so that it won't slide off. Sugar, can you? I'm too blind for these things. Sorry guys, this is taking me forever. Okay, well, as you can see, a bit of a troublemaker when it comes to the end project. But it's not the end of the world. There we go. I lost my jump ring. Come back to me, little jump ring. All right, I'm putting the other side of the clasp on now to my jump ring. If I hold it in the video for you guys to see, then I can't see. And finally, Sorry for the very long wait. You now have a bracelet. All right, that's how you do it. Sorry this video wasn't very good. I'll be in class to help you guys. See you next time.